Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is Crypto Bobby. Hope you are having a good day, good night, wherever you are watching in from. Welcome to another edition of Crypto Happy Hour this evening. Pretty awesome day in the crypto world. A lot of different market movements happening, whether it was Ripple having a pretty big spike during the initial part of the day with their Amex partnership, whether it's been Litecoin's big spike and run up in the past couple of hours due to some of their technical developments. A lot of other things happening today, so really busy day. And what I was hoping at one point was a little bit prior to this, Bitcoin was around $7,960. I was hoping we were going to see $8,000 Bitcoin live. We still might, but maybe $8,000 Bitcoin live as we're hitting this off and we're watching. So looking forward to that. What up, everybody? What up, David? What up, Michael? John? Hope you guys are having a good one so far. Raphael. And again, tonight I got the same six-pack as last night. Chocolate peanut butter porter. It actually wasn't too bad. So, dude. Another edition of Crypto and Booze. That is correct. And as always, guys, the whole purpose of Crypto Happy Hour YouTube Live here is to interact and to have a good time with you guys. It's not to sit here and talk and kind of shout down on top of a mountaintop at you guys. So really, the entire purpose of this is obviously to interact, to take questions. If you're watching this on replay, hopefully you can see the chat and everything there. But looking forward to hanging out with you guys over the next hour, hour and a half, depending upon how many beers I could drink in that time frame, depending upon how tired I get. I got a big day of work tomorrow, but we here. Dogfish 120. I dig it. I dig it. Sup, Thomas, Casey, Jake, Drew, Brad. What is going on? Paul, Jay. Awesome. So let's get kicked off. One thing that I think is pretty interesting. I'm just going to make sure this feed's working all right on my my mobile device. Make sure. Let's see here. Sweet. Yep, we're all good. So one thing that I thought was pretty interesting today, actually, I tweeted about it and today. Looking at Coinbase, this was, I think, an interesting development. So we've obviously talked about this a lot. Coinbase is just announced Coinbase custody. Now, this for probably the majority of people watching this has absolutely nothing to do with us, but what Coinbase custody is it is specifically for institutional investors. So it's digital asset custody owned, operated by Coinbase. And what it's going to enable is for large-scale cryptocurrency or large-scale investment firms, big banks, hedge funds, VC firms, whatever it might be, to more securely and safely invest in cryptocurrency without having to go a different route. And to show a little bit about what it could potentially do for the industry, the minimum, let's see here. So the minimum investment for the utilization to tell you how much money this could potentially bring in. I mean, it could be a lot smaller, but the minimum something like Coinbase custody is taking in is $10 million deposits. So that's the minimum that an institution can put into Coinbase custody. And they're not going to be cheap for it either. It's going to be $100,000 and a fee of 10 basis points per month. So potentially like 1.2% on an annual basis. So that is not cheap by any stretch. But when you're looking at some of these institutions, pretty incredible that could be a nice opportunity for a lot more money to come into the marketplace here in the near future. Somebody mentioned watch Billions with Damian Lewis. I do like Billions a lot. I've liked Damian Lewis ever since Band of Brothers. That might be my favorite TV show ever. Love me some Band of Brothers. I actually rewatched that pretty recently. It's friggin' the best show of all damn time. Fredericksburg, North California. What is up? What is up? And guys, as usual, ask as many questions as you'd like. I'm going to try to answer as many as I can, the ones that I can really add some color to, If you have something that you absolutely must have answered, throw it into the super chat, and I'll absolutely answer every super chat. But I try to answer as many of the other questions as I possibly can as well. But just thought I'd kick things off with this because we've talked a lot about what what it might take to get Bitcoin to $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 to $25,000. This type of money is going to this type of money is what's required in a lot of cases to make that happen. What's up, Chris? Litecoin prediction by end of year. So Litecoin is, it's interesting. We'll pop over to, it's funny because Litecoin basically directly, in a lot of cases, directly just trades on Charlie Lee's tweet. So if you're invested in Litecoin or if you're not invested in Litecoin, you're considering investing in Litecoin, you need to follow Charlie Lee on Twitter. So let's see over here. So Litecoin is up. I'll pull it up on Coinigy. But basically what happened with Litecoin today, if you're not familiar with it, Litecoin executed some cross-chain atomic swaps with, I believe, on the Lightning Network, with the Lightning team, with Bitcoin. So they are running and doing full steam ahead with scaling Bitcoin Litecoin with the Lightning Network, other layer 2 scaling solutions. Charlie tweeted about it as far as atomic swaps go, how great they are, instantaneous, low fees, privacy, et cetera, et cetera. And if we take a look at it, Charlie tweeted that. It was 4 hours ago at this point in time. We'll pop over to the Litecoin charts. And in the 4 hours since Charlie tweeted that, we are up from $63, $64 and change. At one point all the way up to $72, now back down to $68. So Litecoin really spiked hard on the news of Charlie Lee tweeting about those atomic swaps and the utilization of the Litecoin network, or the Lightning network, and some of that layer 2 scaling solutions. So pretty incredible stuff that's going on there. But it's interesting how Litecoin tends to trade with and on Charlie Lee's tweets. I know a lot of people in the chat are probably big in Litecoin as well. So somebody mentioned time to up my weekly dollar cost average. That is what I do. Definitely how I get it done. Brad Haswell, what is up, my man? Good to have you as always. Yep, Band of Brothers never gets old, ever, ever, ever. It's definitely one of my favorites. Captain Winners, Major Winners is the best. Lisk, tell us what is up. So 2 questions there. Why do I think Bitcoin Gold is I'm not going to say the word because I think YouTube just bans half my videos if I curse them now, because they have a crazy algorithm that will not let me. YouTube has an algorithm now that doesn't let you monetize basically anytime I say one curse word. So I'm going to try not to curse as much as I would really prefer to. Otherwise, I'd be dropping bombs all over the place. But why do I think BTG is not a great cryptocurrency? I don't think there was a lot of planning and I mean, it's not doing anything new in a lot of cases. I don't think there's a lot of planning associated with it. You can see what the market really thinks of Bitcoin Gold it had a little bit of a spike up back a few days ago, but it's pretty much sold off immediately. I don't even think I have access to it yet with my Ledger. I might have access to it with my Ledger, but not yet. I just don't think it's a really viable option. It's the only reason it's even notable in nature is because it was forked off Bitcoin. But outside of that, I don't think it's super viable in terms of longevity speaking. Lisk is another one. I'll take a look down here. So Lisk is another one. What do we got? Let's pop over up top. Lisk has had a real nice run. It was actually down 5% today, but it had a big time spike in the past 7 days or so. Went all the way up it went from around $5 and change all the way up to over $10, and then it's kind of fallen off a little bit of a cliff here, down to $8, maybe a little bit less than $8. At this point, in time, I was interested in Lisk in the run up, and then I didn't pull the trigger as usual. I'm always interested. A lot of times I'm interested in these cryptocurrencies, and then they have a big spike, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll hold off on it. So right now I've held off on it. Probably a good move as of, you get some FOMO up here when it starts breaking $9, $10, and then it has a quick sell-off. So luckily I didn't do too much there. Somebody mentioned BCH pumping. William Doe, am I invested in BitConnect? No, absolutely not. What do I think about Rupee? Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate that, my man. So Rupee is, for me personally, I don't know about it, Bruce. Small cryptocurrency, $5 million market cap, less than 1,000 Bitcoin in, less than $100,000 in daily volume. So less than 10 Bitcoin in daily volume. Quite frankly, for me, it's a nice movement in the past couple of days, especially if you've got in when this was less than $100,000. But for me, this is a little bit too small of a cryptocurrency for me to play around with. Not a big fan of things that are like under, let's say under $15 million in market cap. I think that is that's something that I'm just a little bit too risky in a lot of cases. What is up, Wayman? How are you doing, my man? Do I know any decent blockchain platforms for video and audio? I'm not exactly sure. Are you talking about like DTube or something like that, Mike, where it's like a YouTube alternative to I'm trying to think off the top of my head, to a blockchain alternative to YouTube? That's DTube is interesting. Basic Attention Token actually launched something today that might be interesting. I might actually look at, let's see here. Oh, here we go. So this is something that might be interesting as well. I might experiment with it. See, I don't know if any of you guys use the Brave browser, if you guys use Basic Attention Tokens in the Brave browser. I'm definitely not a YouTube star, but gives you an opportunity, or gives somebody like me an opportunity to put my stuff and have you visit it on the Brave browser, and rather than being forced to watch BitConnect ads and getting them shoved down your throat until you want to puke all over your shoes, you can throw me Basic Attention Tokens or something like that to watch videos instead. So it's kind of interesting. I haven't fully explored it. This came out today. I've heard some people say they thought it was interesting, but I think the benefactor there is that you don't have to see ads on your end. The ads, I mean, at this point in time, they help me just to make this content and like afford to make this content. But yeah. Taking a look at some of these questions. Do I buy Bitcoin at this price? For me personally, so I'll pop over here. Well, let's see, pop Bitcoin out. I am not buying Bitcoin at this price. I mean, I dollar cost average here and there, but I have enough Bitcoin now where I feel comfortable, and I have enough exposure to Bitcoin. But as far as like looking at these prices, I tend not to try to buy. Thank you very much for that, Smart Factor. I appreciate that, my man. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. As far as Bitcoin goes, I try not to buy when it's all the way, when it's basically at all-time highs. Go over to Onchain FX if you're not familiar with Onchain FX. Go over there, but they have some interesting things in terms of sorting. They have some interesting filters and columns. You can actually pull up the all-time high and how many days it's been since an all-time high. Bitcoin's all-time high is today. So do I typically recommend investing on an all-time high? No, because usually at some point or another, the tree doesn't grow to the sky and Bitcoin's going to have some level of pullback. So, when you saw over $8,000, then, when you saw over $8,000, I'm sure somebody bought Bitcoin at $8,000. Hopefully it wasn't you, because it's down about almost $200 since then. But, the best time to buy is on the big pullbacks. That is typically the best time to buy. I mean, let me see here. Show order history. Yeah, down here, like back when Bitcoin was up at one point in time, like $5,000, and then crashed down to $2,800, $3,000. All these green arrows are when I bought Bitcoin, or like when I reloaded on Bitcoin, because the reason I do that is, at least for Bitcoin, I don't think every altcoin is always going to reach back to its all-time high. But for Bitcoin, I feel like there's such a long-term future in it that if there is a significant pullback, you got to treat that as a buying opportunity and not as a selling opportunity. So, that type of thing, all these green arrows right here, I mean, that was when I looked at that and was like, okay, it's time to, back in mid-September when everybody was freaking out, that was when I went in and, made some pretty big moves. If I could hide this order history now, then we're good. So I think and the last pullback, Mike Novogratz who is one of the big former Goldman, former Fortress investment guys that now has his own $500 million crypto hedge fund, bought $20 million of Bitcoin when it went down to below $6,000 in the last week. That's the type of move that you got to make, because you got to think to yourself do I think Bitcoin is going to go to, think to yourself, is Bitcoin going to go to $10,000 in the, let's say next year? Is Bitcoin going to go to $15,000 in the next year? If you reasonably think it will, then anytime, I think preferably you don't want to buy at the all-time high, because it's probably going to pull back at one point or another. But if it doesn't, if it does pull back, you got to treat that as a buying opportunity. At least that's how I look at it. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, the altcoins, you can see that it's not always easy for altcoins to make those runs, and a lot of them are still a fair percentage off their all-time highs. Most altcoins are still 20+% away from their all-time highs, minus a couple different ones that have had a little bit of a pullback, but the majority of crypto out there is off of its all-time highs minus Bitcoin. Keanu, thank you, my man. Appreciate that super chat. Do I know when the props token sale will happen? I know they had previously delayed it because of there was a lot of craziness around the Bitcoin SegWit 2x fork, and then that ended up getting canceled, but they delayed it at that point in time. I'm actually going to their office tomorrow for that meetup happy hour. So if you are in Manhattan, if you are in the city, I'll be there tomorrow evening. If you want to hang out, grab a beer, I'll be there tomorrow evening. So I think I don't know if they've kind of established a new time for their token distribution event or whatever they want to call it. But, with that being said, I think I should get a little bit more clarity on that tomorrow. Somebody mentioned, how was somebody like Mike Novogratz, and I've gotten this question a couple different times, how is somebody like Mike Novogratz able to buy $20 million worth of Bitcoin? What exchange? I mean, they're probably, not that it's on like Coinbase custody, but they probably have private exchanges, or they have a private relationship with potentially something like GDAX or Gemini, and they have an institutional relationship there, and they're able to, to buy in that manner. So I think that is, they're not buying $15 million of Bitcoin on Coinbase, if you know what I mean. Eric mentioned, I hate the buy the dip mentality that everybody preaches. Yeah, you buy the dip when it's available, but if you bought the all-time high at $5,000, you're fine. If you think Bitcoin will go up, yeah, you buy. I think that's a fairly accurate assessment in a lot of respects. Typically, what do we got here? Mike VR, appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate that super chat. If you have any questions or need anything, Mike, definitely let me know, my man. Andy mentioned, so I talked about this a little bit previously, but $20 million gets you special treatment. Yeah, it does. I mean, no offense to anybody out there, including myself, but nobody. Do you think Coinbase or Gemini or one of the exchanges out there cares more about the people that are buying a couple $1,000s worth of Bitcoin or Ethereum or crypto and making 10, 15, 20 bucks off of fees? Or do they care more about making hundreds or, thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees off somebody buying $15, $20 million worth of crypto? You guys are smart people. They're probably going to care about the whales that are putting that type of money into place as well. So definitely something to consider. But Coinbase custody is kind of a solution for institutional investors to buy cryptocurrency, buying at least $10 million worth of cryptocurrency. So they need to have $10 million worth of cryptocurrency. But it has a lot of different, so they have a ton of different financial controls around it. They have dedicated support. Like that's the type of thing that institutions, like if you're a hedge fund, if you're a big bank, you're not just going to pop on a Coinbase and you're not going to pop onto an individual account on Coinbase and then buy $1 million worth of Bitcoin and then send that to some Ledger wallet somewhere. You want somewhere with strict financial controls. You want to pick up the phone, call somebody and say, I want to talk to you. I want to hear what the hell's going on. And you want to find out all that information. So I think that's really important. And that's the type of thing that is, obviously security is probably the biggest thing there. So one pretty cool thing though too is if you're looking at this as well is this is multi-asset support. So if you're seeing this is going to give people, big banks, hedge funds, whoever, an opportunity to buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and ERC20 tokens. So that's appealing in a lot of respects because not only could this potentially boost the price of Bitcoin, but you're also talking about Ethereum, Litecoin, ERC20 tokens, maybe something like OMG or whatever, Status, Civic, Neo, blah, blah. Well, Neo's not an ERC20 token, but you get what I'm saying. Somebody has said, a couple different people have asked questions in regards to Tether. I think there's a couple different articles online. Let's see. So if you search like Tether scam, there's a bunch of different articles online about Tether, about Bitfinex, about how I don't think any of it's ever been completely confirmed or not. So I think it's a little bit speculative. I think there's probably, where there's smoke, there's fire. So I wouldn't necessarily doubt that anything, not so, I wouldn't doubt if something shady is going on there, but for the time being, who knows? Where do you buy Tether? So for me personally, I'm not a big fan of Tether. Like I don't really utilize Tether. So if I go, the reason to buy Tether is, and Michael, I'll get to your question there. Is there any hope for ETC? I actually made a decent sized move into ETC. I built a pretty good sized position at around 310 and I bought a little bit more at 325. So I'm accumulating, hoping there might be a run. I've been wrong about Ethereum before. So who knows, but we'll see what ends up happening there. But I've started to accumulate Ethereum where it's at right now in hopes of a run. So USDT or dollar tether, the purpose of, in a lot of cases, the purpose of dollar tether is to mimic. If you don't know what tether is, basically it's a cryptocurrency that is held to the dollar. That's literally its entire purpose. It's just a cryptocurrency that's worth $1. And you're in need of 0.0 Bitcoin, homie. It's tied to $1, and there's a lot of different things that people are saying as far as if it's actually backed by $1. Apparently it is backed by $1. Some people say it's not. So dude, what's up, Chris? So on a place like Bittrex, there's other places as well that trade dollar tether. So if we go over here, Poloniex, Bittrex, HitBTC, and it allows you to trade. So the one scenario where this is really realistic in a lot of respects is like, let's say you have Bitcoin right now and you see you have your Bitcoin on Bittrex and you have your Bitcoin sitting on the Bittrex exchange, and you see Bitcoin right now and it went up to like $8,000 and now it's dropping a little bit and you're getting worried and you're like, okay, Bitcoin's going to go down. I want to sell, but I don't want to sell into another cryptocurrency because, not everything is stable. If I sell to Litecoin or if I sell to something else, that might drop too. And when that happens, that kind of removes the point of selling. So how can you sell to something that's stable without having to send your money from Bittrex to Coinbase or to Gemini or to whatever your local exchange is and cash that out into US dollars? Well, you can just trade that into dollar tether. Now, there's questions around the stability and the longevity of dollar tether, and if it's something that really is backed by the dollar, and if it's something that actually has that's good for it there. But it has, I think, a short-term trading case. But if I want to move money out, to my knowledge, crypto to crypto isn't taxed any different than crypto to US dollar. So doesn't really make a difference from my end. So if I want to get money into dollars, then I'm going to just transfer that over to GDAX, trade it out, let it sit in dollars, and we'll go from there. What's up, Dale? What is up, Michael? Yeah, some people love using Tether. Some people don't use it. Do whatever. But I think that's the most common use case, is just, you don't feel like, so you don't feel like, if you don't feel like getting your money off an exchange, that's like the most common use case, at least in my opinion. So going through some of these questions as well. And again, thanks, Mike, for that very generous super chat. I really do appreciate that, my man. That's awesome. If you have a ton of money, you're probably not an average person. How come the price on Coinbase and GDAX is different? I don't know how different. I don't know what the spread is, but a lot of times they'll make money on Coinbase. They make money off the spread as well. So the difference between what they're selling it at and the actual price. So not only does Coinbase charge, so GDAX is owned by Coinbase as well. GDAX is owned by Coinbase. GDAX is for more institutional investors or just more experienced investors and traders. But, with that going on, Coinbase makes money with bigger fees, and then they also make money with a spread where, there is, let's say Bitcoin right now or Ethereum right now is 330, and they're actually charging you 332 on Coinbase. This is a pretty interesting consolidation here too in the last day or so with Ethereum kind of in this little pattern here. It's just really been kind of tightening up around the 330 range. I'm curious to see what ends up happening, but like I said, I accumulated it around the 325 range or so. So I'm excited to see where that might end up. 310, 315, then 325. Darren said, did Bitcoin really hit $8,000 today? So Bitcoin, I don't believe Bitcoin hit $8,000 on GDAX. I think it hit $8,000 on a couple other exchanges. So I think technically it hit $8,000, but not on GDAX, which is the one exchange that I use. Coinbase got to get paid. Yeah, they got investors. It's a business, man. It is a business. Yeah, Sathu said, you don't need any experience to use GDAX. I advise anybody who's using Coinbase to go straight into GDAX. I've literally made a video on Sathu. I have a video. It's actually like my most popular video. It's probably how half of you guys found my channel, but it's literally why you should use GDAX and not Coinbase, because it doesn't take much to be smart enough. I mean, you could just do market buys and pay the 0.3% maker taker fee, the 0.3% taker fee, and you're good to go. You out of here, Stephanie. This ain't no soup kitchen, girl. What do we got? I don't know about Deribit. I have no idea what that is, quite frankly. Thoughts on Zcash? Zcash is definitely interesting. I have not personally put any money into Zcash. I think that Zcash seems to have a pretty, pretty decent community. ZK Snarks, I think, is a big deal. There's also working on implementing ZK Snarks into Ethereum. I think privacy is going to be bigger and bigger deal. I think privacy is going to be a bigger and bigger deal as people start looking for privacy, because Bitcoin really isn't private in a lot of respects. It's always funny when mainstream news talks about how anonymous Bitcoin is and how it's used by, drug kingpins and all that crazy stuff. And maybe it is, but the smart ones now are using Monero or Zcash or something like that, where that information is a private transaction. So I think privacy, outside of just that shady use case, I mean, there's other use cases there for privacy as well. So I've been looking at privacy coins, whether it's been Monero, whether it's been Zcash, whether it's been Navcoin, and if anybody has, I think Dale just mentioned Monero over Zcash. He likes Monero better. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you have a specific privacy coin that you like quite a bit? And outside of that, guys, if you're popping into these comments asking for money, I'm gonna boot your ass faster than Bitcoin Cash is dropping right now. So what's negative on coins right now? Good time to buy at the moment. Your thoughts on Ripple or other coins? So one thing that's fairly interesting, I think, is the effect of news on cryptocurrency. And we can see here. So Ripple today, Ripple is partnering with American Express, which is a huge deal. Like that's, I mean, we're talking about American Express here. That's a huge deal. And I think that is a big time thing. So with that being said, when Ripple, let's pop over here, let's look at the Ripple chart when that news got announced today. We'll look at Bitfinex, Ripple to US dollar. Like that's crazy. Look at that spike and then look at that sell-off. So it goes to the old saying of that everybody always likes to, talk about where buy the rumor, sell the news. The second that news happens, oh, yeah, Ripple's partnering with American Express. Have you already held down here? That's a great time to get rid of it. So news only lasts for so long, it seems like, and then the excitement kind of wears off. But, I mean, that is really interesting news. That is really legit news, but it still hasn't gotten Ripple back to kind of anywhere near its, unfortunately anywhere near its, it's somewhat close to its all-time highs, but Daniel Yim, thank you very much for that super chat. I do appreciate that, my man. Outlook on IOTA's potential. So I'll pop over here. We'll look at IOTA. I've talked a little bit about IOTA in past episodes. It's up 7% of the day, which is definitely nice. It's had a really nice run. Let's see how far off its all-time high it is right now. So we got IOTA. There we go. IOTA is 24% off its all-time high. Its all-time high is about $1.04. It's trading at 79 cents right now, so not too crazy off its all-time high. And Pats and I will get to your super chat there as well. So IOTA, I think long-term, longevity speaking, it's a moonshot bet. I think that it's a different type of, it's the Tangle, it's not blockchain, or it's a different type of a decentralized ledger solution or a decentralized solution. It's trying to be the crypto for the Internet of Things. I think it has a couple different things to accomplish. Like they're trying to put ASICs, or their future state, they're looking at putting like ASICs, tiny little ASICs in all these smart devices. So I think number one, IOTA depends upon the growth of the Internet of Things. Obviously, the Internet of Things is growing crazy. I mean, you have Wi-Fi connection to your damn refrigerator, your toaster oven, your freaking coffee machine, all that stuff. IOTA is trying to allow for cryptocurrency to move and for crypto to move between those things. It's a very interesting concept. Do I think it will be extremely successful? I kind of have some. It almost seems like too early on in the future right now for me, but it's done well in terms of investment for sure. Thoughts on PIVX long-term as a privacy coin? Just looking at some of these questions there as well. So PIVX, let's see too. Let's see if it's PIVX, another one. 28% off its all-time high about 33 days ago. All-time high around $4.30. Right now it's trading, again, 28% below its all-time high, so around $3 or so. Pop out here. Can't get this HubSpot off my page. So somebody just asked, where's the props meetup? If you want to go to that meetup, just RSVP there and you should be good to go. I think it's at 5 p.m. If anybody's going to that, definitely let me know. Look forward to meeting you there. And that's at Props' office. The last one that I went to at the Props office was pretty cool. It was hosted by Coin Fund, and that was a good time. So PivX is interesting. I don't know if privacy coins are a zero-sum game, but I feel like there are... I don't want to say it's a zero-sum game, but I feel like there's going to be like one or two privacy coins that end up doing really well and are the go-to. Probably one privacy coin. Right now, it seems to be Monero as obviously the biggest privacy coin, and Zcash in second with something with PivX, with stuff like Navcoin behind it as well. So I think PivX has a lot of competition. Competition isn't necessarily a bad thing in this case, because that means that there's actually a use case there, and I think there is a use case. So it's not, it's not trying to go after some stupid thing, but it's interesting to see how PivX will continue to develop. I don't know what I'm assuming this read more is about staking, which if it's a proof of stake type system, or if there's a reward system there and how that works. So I guess running a master node, 10,000 PivX. So that's not small potatoes with PivX at $3. So you're talking about, you need $33,000 to run a master node. So that ain't small potatoes. Crypto Caesar, thank you very much for that super chat. I do appreciate that. Talk Lisk. Okay, I will talk Lisk if you comment 3 times. And somebody else mentioned Civic. Mike, I got involved in the Civic ICO. So I do have Civic. It's probably about 10% of my portfolio, maybe a little bit more than that. So I do like Civic quite a bit. I think it is a company that has a legit use case. I think they are executing on it. I know they're hiring. I know they're doing a good job. Some people like Vinny Lingham. Some people hate Vinny Lingham. I tend to like his approach. So that is kind of what it is. But I have been holding on to, I sold a little bit of Civic previously, but I've been holding on to most of it since the ICO. So Lisk is interesting. It's pulled back a little bit. It's maybe 15% off its all-time high, 20% off its all-time high now. But the blockchain, we've talked about it before. I'll talk a little bit about it again. Bitcoin Gold is the real Bcash. You guys are funny, man. So Jim Schmidt, I'll say your name. So Lisk is interesting. It's a competitor to Ethereum. I believe they're in the process of releasing their SDK, their software development kit. I don't know if that is ready yet. I think that's a lot of the run-up of the trading that's happened with Lisk. It is something that, if you guys don't know, a lot of the point of Ethereum and something like Lisk is for software developers and engineers to build on top of the platform, utilizing a programming language to build, utilizing Ethereum as like a base layer, Lisk as a base layer. The thing with Ethereum is they have a proprietary language called Solidity, or it's not fully proprietary, but it's kind of proprietary to Ethereum for the time being. That it's called Solidity. Lisk is utilizing something that's JavaScript. It's been around for a while. It's very common. There's a lot of software engineers, developers out there that have that skill set. Meanwhile, people right now in Ethereum, there are Solidity developers, but they're fairly new. And they're teaching themselves and they're learning now. So that's kind of Lisk's, I think one of Lisk's big value propositions, or how they're trying to sell themselves is, hey, we're Ethereum, we're a decentralized blockchain application platform, but instead of having to learn Solidity, you already know JavaScript. So you can code on top of our platform. You can build products, solutions, deploy those without having to take the time to actually learn Solidity. So that's, I think, the big deal there. One of the big deals with Lisk. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that, my man. I should do a fork called the Real Bitcoin, or you could do Real Bitcoin. So taking a look at some of these questions. A couple different people have asked about Substratum. I talked a little bit about it last night, but I need to do a little bit more research on Substratum to add any real value to the topic. So I appreciate the questions there, but I need to do a little bit more research on Substratum. So somebody asked, where do I get my news? To be pretty frank, I think Twitter's great if you follow the right people. So here's my profile or here's my Twitter profile. Click on that. If you want, all you got to do is just click on who I'm following. For the most part, it's all people in the crypto world. So some of it's traders, some of it's investors, some of it is companies in the crypto space. Some of them are developers. You could see, Mike Novogratz. You could see the guy who wrote Digital Gold. You could see Chris Berniski, who is a VC or a crypto hedge fund guy. Traders, lawyers. Like I try to, Jesse, the founder of Bloom, Chris Dixon, an investor. I try to follow the companies and the people that I'm interested in, pretty much exclusively in the crypto space. The Winklevoss Bros. What up, Winklevoss Bros? If you invented Facebook, you would have invented Facebook, but you own all the Bitcoin in the world now, so good on you. But yeah, I try to. I think it's a great place to. It's a great place to find out what the heck is going on in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, obviously, not just Bitcoin. So somebody said I just got an email on the SegWit 2x. So let's look at this. This is from GDAX. So I'm assuming it's Coinbase. Let's see what the heck this means. So excuse me as I go through this in real time, but I'm assuming anything Coinbase does tends to have somewhat of a rippling effect. Usable. So interesting there. So basically what's happening with Coinbase right now, or at least with GDAX, it appears as though that there is so it looks like at 2 a.m. Pacific time tonight that there is some people out there, some of the miners are still going to attempt to fork Bitcoin SegWit 2x. So as a lot of people have said before, as we've covered it in significant detail, somebody said, where's my drink? I'm running empty here. Let's see what is happening with the price of Bitcoin in relation to this, because this may be impacting the price. I'm not sure. So looks like people might be getting free Bitcoin. Yep. A little bit. So what's happening here essentially is that, at least from what I've seen, is that there's still a number of miners, or still a small contingent of miners that are going to try to fork the Bitcoin SegWit 2x, the B2X cryptocurrency, come tonight at 2 a.m. Pacific time, or come tomorrow at 2 a.m. Pacific time. It says that GDAX will disable deposits and withdrawals, but it says that currently we believe that this network is not going to be not going to be usable for the time being. They believe that's the most likely scenario. However, if the network does turn out to be usable, they will credit GDAX customers with Bitcoin B2X or B2X or whatever it is. So if you have your money on Coinbase, if you have your Bitcoin on Coinbase, if you have your Bitcoin on GDAX, I don't know what other companies might be coming out with a statement here, but if that B2X fork actually does go through, then you will get credited B2X. It does not sound like they will not enable trading as they were going to previously when there's actually support behind Bitcoin 2X or B2X fork, but you might be able to trade it. I'm sure you'll be able to withdraw it, and if Binance is trading B2X, and you'll be good to go. Curious here what's going to happen with, I'll pop over as we're looking at this real time, B2X futures up 25% right now. Somebody mentioned, am I in the Palm Beach investment group? No, I am personally not. I don't know about B2X and Ledger yet. I would assume, Derek, that Ledger would have to make a statement on that. I have not seen a statement on B2X from Ledger. So usually they're pretty good. Usually they're on top of their stuff, but this seems like it's kind of developing out of nowhere. Somebody mentioned, am I in the Palm Beach investment group? I think $3,000 is whatever they charge people for is that's a pretty hefty fee. So unless I've said that before, that with Palm Beach investment and anything like that, unless you have like $50,000 in the market or something like that, or a good amount. Like let's say at least like 25 grand. If you have $5,000, why would you spend 3,000 of those dollars on a report or on a group to maybe make that money over? You're probably just better off buying Bitcoin or buying some altcoins and whatever. So for me personally, I mean, it doesn't really make financial sense to me. And I know they've had some good calls in the past, but it was kind of hard to not have good calls in the past when the entire market went through the roof. So that's my overall thought process there. I've heard they've made good calls, but like I said, it's kind of hard to lose money in the past year. It's basically impossible. I made 10x on Dogecoin, so let's not act like I was a genius for that. Now that B2X is happening, do I think there will be a Bitcoin pump? That's actually, I was curious about that as I popped over here in the charts, and we're not really seeing it yet. So it looks like the market doesn't care too much about that as of the time being. Maybe the news hasn't come out, but usually the news is pretty quick to hit. So the SegWit 2X. So Doug, I think you might have come in a little bit late, but yeah, I just kind of classified that. As far as it somewhat being a little bit of a non-issue. It's a fork that is very minimally supported now by a few kind of rogue miners. Sounds like Coinbase and GDAX are going to provide you with, if that fork actually turns into a viable cryptocurrency, sounds like they're going to help support, or they're going to support that and allow you to withdraw, but they're not going to allow for trading there. Fork date, I believe, is tonight or tomorrow, 5 a.m. Eastern Time, 2 a.m. Pacific. Yeah, B2X 5 a.m. Eastern Time, 2 a.m. Pacific, I believe, is the estimated time. Here's this article. Here's the link to the GDAX article, which is owned by Coinbase, so I'm sure it's the same thing. If you want to look at that, go for it. David Crotchet, Bloom ICO, I believe I'm going to be participating in that. Put in my application for the whitelist, so trying to hop in that one. Can you call up Square? They apparently are trading Bitcoin. Your thoughts? I don't think it's that big of a deal personally. I know a lot of people, I think it's a big deal in some cases, and it's not that big of a deal in other cases. Like in terms of overall adoption, I think it'll be helpful. In terms of driving the price like through the roof, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. It's not, in my opinion, it's really not that difficult to buy Bitcoin or cryptocurrency now with companies like Coinbase that are basically designed for like pretty much a monkey could buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. That's really the entire purpose of Coinbase. On the other end of the spectrum, I think what's really going to drive the price is something like Coinbase Custody, where that's going to allow companies that want to put $100 million into Bitcoin to buy Bitcoin. Not necessarily the 1,000 people that are going to buy $50 worth of crypto. Sterling, I appreciate that super chat, my man. If you have any questions at all, definitely let me know. It's 10:45 a.m. in Perth, Australia. Jealous I'm drinking a beer. It's not too early to drink, is it? Andrew mentioned thoughts on 10x, buy or steer clear. Seem like a good team with a great idea. I do agree that 10x seems to have a good team in place. They're great at marketing. One of the co-founders, Julian Hosp, is all over the marketing world. Great on YouTube, all that good stuff. As far as investing in 10x, I don't remain I tried to get it on the ICO. It spiked like crazy from after the ICO, so it was a hell of an ICO investment, but it's really cooled off since then. Could it be in for a nice movement? Yeah, but I'm not going to be, I'm most likely not going to be putting any money in 10x. I like the idea, but I don't think it's that massive of a game changer. Jay England, Keynote Bobby coming to speak in Vegas. I actually got to respond to the host of that conference. I believe I am going to be going out to Vegas to have my first keynote in the crypto world, or speaking on my own for a little bit of time and then participating in like a group discussion. So that should be awesome. Like I said, that'll be, I think that's December 9th. It's on a Saturday. So I'll come out tomorrow's recorded video. If I do, I should be responding to that and confirming that tonight, probably after this live video. So after I do that, I'll put some information probably in tomorrow's recorded video. So you guys, if you are interested in going to that by any chance, I think I get like a group discount code for you guys, so you can go on the cheap. It's already a pretty cheap conference in and of its own right, but it's not like one of those. I've seen some conferences. There are conferences in New York. I think the Consensus conference in New York, which is like one I would love to go to, it's like $1,500, and kind of like the Palm Beach report, like it's kind of hard to justify spending $1,500. And, it's kind of hard to justify spending $1,500 on a conference, although I'd probably meet some awesome people and do a ton of fun stuff. But that's a tough price to swallow when, I'm not swimming in BitConnect loans. Daniel, I just briefly touched on Bloom and said that, yeah, I think I'm probably going to be participating in that ICO. KK Buy, what up, dude? How much do I think the price of Bitcoin will be in the summer of 2018? I don't really, to be honest, I don't really like to make price predictions because it's freaking damn near impossible. I think we'll definitely see, personally, in my opinion, we'll definitely see $10,000 plus by the summer of 2018. I think that is very, very realistic. So I remain excited to see that. But somebody mentioned how much to get into the Vegas conference. I think it's less than $200. I think is the conference in Vegas is less than $200. Thank you very much, Philip, for that. Thoughts on the decentralized exchange altcoin.io? I have not heard of this, so we'll pop this in. Hopefully it's a legit website. I need to do a little bit more research. I like where it's been seen in CoinDesk, Bitcoin.com. Is it all, maybe you can comment a little bit more, my man. Is it all atomic swaps? Decentralized exchanges are very interesting. I've spoken a little bit about it before, but decentralized exchanges, and this might not be smart contract driven, maybe it's atomic swap driven, but so Sterling mentioned all these YouTube videos think that Bitcoin is going to hit 10,000 and 100,000 and even 1 million. Do you think these figures are possible? If so, what would need to happen for these prices to be reached? Would I love for Bitcoin to be $100,000 or $1 million? Yeah, I would. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. The one guy, to be honest, I really like that has some good thoughts, that has some really good thoughts on Bitcoin is Tom Lee. So if you know this dude, here's an article from Tom Lee. He is I think a co-founder at Fundstrat. Uses something called Metcalfe's Law to predict the price of Bitcoin. So this is a little bit different, but he predicted $6,000 Bitcoin like a week before it happened, but he thought it was going to take till mid-2018. It happened like 2 weeks after he mentioned it. So this has gone up quite a bit since then. But one thing, Tom Lee is pretty often on CNBC. I thought the one thing that was really interesting that he said is that in a lot of cases, we talk about Bitcoin being digital gold, kind of that type of Bitcoin being that type of cryptocurrency, being the digital gold, being a really good store of value, being a good investment. So with the current, I forget what the current market cap is, but basically Tom Lee says that if whatever the current market capitalization of gold is, I think it's something like, I don't know, $5 trillion or something like that. If you take 5% of the current market capitalization of gold and apply that to Bitcoin. So if you say Bitcoin is going to be worth 5% of what gold is, then Bitcoin will be worth $25,000 per Bitcoin. So I think that is a really interesting valuation method. And I think in some cases, outside of some of the other ways, Bitcoin is really tough to actually value because it's kind of what the market is willing to pay for it. With that, on that note, applying some type of formula helps to make a little bit of sense to it. And I think that that is an interesting way to go. So I think that Tom Lee predicts that Bitcoin will capture 5% of gold's value in the next, I think he said 5 years. So $25,000 Bitcoin within the next 5 years. The way Bitcoin is moving right now, it's hard to imagine that taking 5 years. Could that happen in a year or two? Yeah, it could potentially. If Bitcoin keeps moving this way, it could absolutely do that. Nikolai mentioned those prices won't be reached with only speculative money driving the price. Bitcoin is yet to find a real use case. So it's interesting because Bitcoin Classic, Satoshi's True Vision, that's funny, man. That is really, that crypto is really funny. So Bitcoin will absolutely be worth $150,000 per unit someday. I mean, that'd be fantastic. But I don't know if that'll, who knows? I'm going to continue to stack Bitcoin in the hopes that, one day it might be worth that. And it's kind of my moonshot bet. I don't know specifically how you guys treat your cryptocurrency investments, but for me, I have my 401k and I have all my, all the rest of the money that I put in the stock market and all that good stuff. But I also have money that my crypto money is, it's kind of my play around money. It's like, this is maybe one day this Bitcoin is going to be worth $100,000 and I'm going to pay off my house and I'm not going to have to work again, or I'm just going to have this YouTube channel and have fun and, enjoy what I do and, all that good stuff. Do you ever get FOMO from the BitConnect wave, seeing all these people making hundreds of thousands of dollars? I've been wondering to jump onto the hype train. What I'll say to this, and this is like my daily rant on that. BitConnect right now is profitable. I don't think there's any doubt about it for people. But the majority of people that are making money are making it off of referrals. And you could make money in BitConnect, and I've actually done the math. I've looked at it. I've done the math. I've looked at historical. You could basically make your money back in like 2 to 3 months. But the thing is, will BitConnect last another 2 or 3 months? Maybe. Maybe it'll last 2 or 3 years. Maybe it'll be shut down in 2 weeks. Who knows? But instead of putting your money in BitConnect, it's probably better to put it in another cryptocurrency because you're not, and especially from a referral perspective, what really pisses me off is the people that act like it's it's God's gift to the world and it's like the most ethical, legal thing on the planet, and that they're just God's gift to the planet Earth because they're informing the people about this incredible investment opportunity. Meanwhile, they're getting 7% of everything you put in, getting 5% off the people below you, and 3% off the people below you, or whatever, whatever this is. I don't really know what shape this reminds me of, but I don't know if this is capturing it, but it kind of reminds me of a triangle, which is also considered something else as well. So, Sterling Roberts, I appreciate that, my man. Thank you so much for that super chat. Very kind of you. Thanks to everybody, too, for those super chats as well. Very, very generous. It's much appreciated. Crypto should be considered speculation money. For me, it is. It's speculative money. If the money I put in crypto goes to zero, am I going to be sad? Yeah. Is it going to kick me in the nuts? Yeah. But it's also something where I'm prepared for it. Like if it goes to zero one day, if it goes poof, then it is what it is. So, and I think that's kind of the mindset you want to. I think that's the mindset you want to be. This is the mindset you want to be in. Hater gonna hate. I always hate. I'm a hater. What percentage of my portfolio is crypto? I would say like 15 to 20%. So Probably 15 to 20% of my portfolio is crypto. I haven't put 15 to 20% of my fiat in crypto, but the way Bitcoin or the way crypto has moved, in the past year, it's 5x of the money I put in, so that's been enjoyable. How could a $225 billion industry go to zero? Hey, maybe we're going to see a nice little run up to $8,000. That'd be nice to see live. I would enjoy that. So how could a $225 billion industry go to zero? I doubt it would go to zero, but that's just something I'm mentally prepared for because it's a very speculative market. I don't want it to go to zero. I don't think it's going to go to zero, but if something happens, I'm prepared for it. That's all I'm saying there. I'm not saying that it's going to go to zero or something crazy like that. There'd probably be, even if some reason it went to zero, if every government on the planet said we're banning this crap and you're never going to be able to do it, and we're going to line everybody up in the streets and shoot at them if they have Bitcoin, it still probably wouldn't be worth zero. But I'm just prepared for, because this is a speculative bet for me, because this is something that, number one, I enjoy doing. Like, I get more entertainment and enjoyment out of this than I do looking at my Betterment portfolio going from 10% ROI to 10.1 to 10.0.5 or whatever. So it's just such a fun place. It's so cutting edge that, and I'm a tech guy. I enjoy the tech aspect of it. I enjoy this type of environment. So that's kind of what I like the most. Sasan, I appreciate that, my man. Thank you so much. Somebody mentioned, are you adding OMG to my holdings yet? I do own OMG, not a ton, but I do own OMG. I bought OMG at around $1.50. I sold some at around $8.50. Right now it's below $7. It's definitely lagged in the marketplace. I haven't loved the movements of OMG recently. I'll pull up where we got so OMG is 44% off its all-time highs, and its all-time highs happened 2+ months ago. So all-time highs of $12.88. I bought it at beginning. I bought it about $1.50. Sold it around $8 and something cents. After it went down, it was up to $13. I didn't sell. I saw it dropping and dropping. So I was like, I'll take some profits, because I've had that scenario before where I've been up 10x and I haven't taken profits, and then you blink your eyes and you're only up 5x. So it's like, sometimes you just want to take those profits and make sure you're doing what you should be doing. How do I send Yep, so I don't know if everybody was here previously, so I talked about it a little bit previously, but there was an email from Bitcoin and GDAX that just went out. Basically what's happening is the SegWit2x, the B2X fork that was supposed to happen, that got canceled essentially, or delayed, or whatever you want to call it, is apparently still going to happen. There's kind of rogue miners or whoever they are. There's a small contingent of people that are potentially still going to go forward with that fork. And that is supposed to happen at 2 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, or basically tonight in, I don't know, 7, 8 hours, 10 hours, something like that. So that's something that you want to keep an eye on, is that fork can potentially happen. So GDAX and Coinbase, I believe, are stopping withdrawals and deposits for the time being. And if that fork actually turns out to be something usable that people actually utilize, they will credit you B2X crypto that you'll be able to withdraw if that fork turns into anything usable. Most likely scenario is it's not. So that's a quick recap of what is going on there. Will Bitcoin crash again? Duffy Games, thank you very much for that comment, my man. Will Bitcoin crash again? I think pullbacks are just part of the game with Bitcoin personally. I think that, it's a crazy volatile market. We've seen multiple. I mean, let's look at the past 3 months. There's been 2 big pullbacks where it was up to $4,000, almost $5,000, got slammed down all the way to below $3,000 and recovered all the way to $7,800 or so. Got slammed back down to $5,000 and now has gone straight through the roof. This has been a very, very aggressive move upward. So I personally wouldn't doubt a pullback. I'm prepared to, if a pullback happens, I'm prepared to buy a bunch more Bitcoin. If it doesn't happen, then such is life. But I would say it's more probable than not that a pullback will happen. It's just a matter of when. What is my view on Steemit tokens? I've talked a little bit about it previously sometimes. So I have a Steemit profile. If you guys are on Steem, if you want to shoot me a follow over there. So on Steem, from an investment perspective, I'm not like a huge fan of it personally. I think there's a lot of people that will say like Steem is the next big thing. Steem's going to be worth $10. Blah, blah, blah. The majority of people that say Steem is going to be worth $10 are like big Steem influencers, and they have all their money in Steem. So obviously there's a big incentive for them to tell you Steem is going to be super valuable. You look at these charts, you don't see, there's not a lot here that makes it seem like Steem is going to have, it's kind of been on a downhill pattern for the past 3 months. There really hasn't been a lot that's been encouraging in a lot of respects. So for me personally, I participate on Steem. I post on Steem. I bought some Steem power in the past just because I was experimenting. I think I bought like $600 worth of Steem power because I was just like, hey, let's see what happens. But for putting money into Steem is like, hey, I'm going to put $1 into Steem and it's going to go to $5 or $2 or whatever. I don't know if I see that happening. So, I mean, maybe it could, but I don't view Steem as an investment. I view Steem more as a potential platform to kind of get my content out, interact with more people, and have a good time on in a decentralized environment, whatever you want to call it. What do I think of Monero? I think Monero definitely has a really nice use case. I need to look a little bit more at the tech as far as how Monero goes and what's going on with the tech. And outside of that, I think Monero is a pretty legit crypto. Anybody think BAT can compete with Chrome, Firefox, Explorer with 35 mil? So basic attention token, the Brave browser right now, that was a nice, they had a really, I don't know what the ICO happened at, if it was 35 mil. Robin, thank you very much for that super chat. Very much appreciate that. Appreciate your time and hope you enjoyed the show. If you ever need anything, definitely let me know. But Brave basic attention token, I mean, it's an uphill battle, I think, for sure. It's they have a good team that has very strong experience in the space. It's very interesting cryptocurrency, very interesting browser. And like I said, today they launched something for kind of like YouTube influencers or basically people with a YouTube channel. So I'll pull this back up. But basically, if you use, I can verify, and I'll probably do this. If you use Brave, if you use Basic Attention Token, I can verify my YouTube channel. And then rather than having to watch BitConnect ads, this is my BitConnect wallet, blah, 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 for 5 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever, crap you have to sit through. If you use the Brave browser, you can, I guess, you can either tip me or whatever, or anybody on YouTube if that person is registered. So I think that type of thing is something that Brave is going to need to do. And it's a smart idea because it gets people like, not necessarily me because I really don't have that much influence, but it gets other people out there and, potential big influencers say like, hey guys, try to go through, Brave instead of going on Google Chrome and whatever. But at the same point in time, they're also competing against the likes of Google and Microsoft. Like, those aren't small companies, and those companies have a ton of money in the bank. Checking out these questions. Okay, sweet. Jess, any good ICOs in the next month? Specty, 5 miles. I don't know either of those. Let's see. What is this? 5 miles, Cyber Miles, the connection between blockchain. Don't know too much about this one, quite frankly. Need to do a little bit more research. I think I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but the 2 ICOs in the next month or so that I'll be participating in is Props and Bloom. Those are the 2 that I'm most interested in. Outside of that, don't have a ton of interest in other ones. Does that mean that they're not going to perform well? No, it doesn't. Like Power Ledger, I wasn't interested in. That's had a really nice follow-up since the ICO. Some of the ones that I was interested in haven't had a great move since the ICO, but we'll see. How do you keep track of all the transactions? I use something called bitcoin.tax. Here's a link to it. And it's not a referral link or anything like that. But that's what I use. That it allows you to upload CSV files or just integrate directly with like Bittrex or GDEX. And then from there, you can, it'll calculate your profit loss. It'll calculate your realized gain, unrealized gain. And then I'm going to use that website to basically print out all my information, give it to my accountant, and say, hey, figure it out, buddy. Guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to get one more beer and be right back. Oh, I can't get out. And I'm back. Oh, shit. Awesome. And per usual, I'm winded from walking down half a flight of stairs. I've heard good things about coin tracking as well. Taxes are a touchy subject for crypto. I'm going to pay mine. You do you. That's all I'll say. Yeah, you could probably hear me running. And probably not that quickly. Thoughts on Power Ledger? I had the opportunity to participate in the Power Ledger ICO. I did not actually go through that process. Tashi, I've lost all faith in you. I'm writing you off. Why is that? We already know the facts. Let's go through and find out, Tashi. How about a recommendation? We already know the facts on this situation. You're totally leaving us in the dark. Are you scared to answer my question? Hey, Tashi, how about you answer a good question? Or how about you ask a good question, and then maybe I wouldn't leave you in the dark. Do you have to pay tax? Can you look up the reason? Can you look up the reason IOTA is running up? IOTA Tangle. I don't know, Jess. I believe props is fine for the USA, but I do not know off the top. Buy, sell, or hold Bitcoin. I am holding Bitcoin. I am not buying any more Bitcoin right now, but I am. I'm not buying any more Bitcoin right now, but I would hold potentially. I don't know. It's tough to sell Bitcoin. People always try to call the top of Bitcoin, and then when you call the top of Bitcoin, then it's rough. So I'm holding. And then I'm going to put it all into BitConnect Cash. Let's see here. IOTA Tangle, thank you very much for that super chat. Very much appreciate that as always. Let's see what is happening with IOTA. I do dig IOTA's ticker symbol, Internet of Things. That is quite clever on their end. So let's see, in the past 3 days, IOTA's had a nice run for sure. I mean, as far as it having like a crazy run up, I don't know specifically. Let's take a look and see if there's anything out there. I mean, IOTA is still pretty significantly off its all-time highs. Where did we talk about the all-time highs previously? So IOTA is still 24% off its all-time highs. It's at $1.04 right now, or its all-time highs are above $1. It's at 79 cents. So I don't think that is anything to specifically like write home about right now, at least. Is Bitcoin Cash a good buy right now? It's Bitcoin Cash is definitely fallen off the map a little bit since that crazy pump. It looked like, I don't know if we want to call this a bottom here, but it looks like it found some support around 875, 880, but it's still, let's pull this up on a 4-hour chart. It went through the damn roof, and then it's basically fallen off the map since then. It's gotten a little bit of support right now in the past couple of hours, but still below $1,000. I personally, I don't have any Bitcoin Cash. I think it's a decent hedge if you really believe that Bitcoin Cash can be the next Bitcoin. But if you don't think Bitcoin Cash is the true Bitcoin, then or you're not investing in it for that purpose, I don't know if that's a great reason for it. Thank you very much for that nice comment, Richard. Can't give too much interpretation off the top. I mean, as I'm looking at these charts pretty quickly, so it's tough for me to give a good, accurate description of kind of what I'm seeing on the charts as of this right second here. But let's see, pull back on LTC. We could pull that up. What the heck, China? Somebody mentioned, do you have to pay taxes on crypto to crypto trades? I believe so. I am not an accountant, and I'm very much trusting my accountant to do this for me. So I'm going to use CoinInfo or whatever. I forget the other one outside of Bitcoin .tax that a couple different people mentioned. So, or coin tracking or whatever that might be. I think it's coin tracking. Let's see here. Yep, cointracking.info is the other one. So I'm going to check these guys out. I haven't started it yet. But I'm going to check these homies out first, or I'm going to check these homies out for the time being, because I think that's going to be, looks like they have a tax report and some other interesting things that you can run on there. And they also, I guess, have an iOS application as well. So I'm going to give that a go. There is no such law that allows you to not, that bans people in the ICOs or bans United States citizens from ICOs. There are some companies that do not want to allow American citizens to invest because they think that opens them up to SEC regulation, but there is no such specific law that bans U.S. citizens from investing in an ICO. Going through these questions. Will you be able to buy stocks with crypto? I think there's a couple different ICOs that have tried to tokenize stocks and go through, I think liquid asset token is one of those, and there's a couple other that have tried to tokenize stocks. I don't know why necessarily you might need to buy stock with crypto. I don't really get the use case there and why that would specifically be like that good of a thing, like just have an E-Trade account or a Scottrade account or whatever. But it might be something that we'll see in the future. What do you think of Litecoin? Charlie said, thank you very much, Jimmy. I appreciate that. First off, what do you think of Litecoin? Charlie said, as he looks at it, it's the silver to Bitcoin Litecoin is the silver to Bitcoin's gold. What are your thoughts? I mean, I think that's somewhat of an accurate summation in a lot of respects. Litecoin, Charlie has positioned Litecoin as the silver to Bitcoin's gold. It's selling. I don't want to say it's selling off right now. spiked all the way up from $62 to $72 and wasn't able to get past $72. Now still up a bit from, let's see how much it's up, at least from earlier in the day when it was kind of at that range. So it's still up like 5, 6, 7%. So nothing to sneeze at, but not the kind of highs it was at previously. Looking at Litecoin, I think there's a lot of people that definitely enjoy investing in Litecoin. I think Charlie is it's good in some cases centralization is bad. In some cases centralization is good. In the case of like Ethereum and Litecoin, Ethereum is very much like Vitalik Buterin's baby. Like everybody thinks that like if Vitalik Buterin died, the price of Bitcoin, like I don't know if you guys were around for Bitcoin or for Ethereum this summer when there was some fake rumor that it was on some crappy website, but there was a fake rumor that Vitalik Buterin died in a car crash and it dropped the price of Ethereum like in a second on some crappy shady website because a lot of people consider Ethereum to be Vitalik and Vitalik to be Ethereum. Litecoin is kind of the same way with Charlie Lee. Like if Charlie Lee's private jet crashes tomorrow, the price of Litecoin is going to go from $67 to $5 because I feel like people identify Litecoin with Charlie Lee and vice versa. But it helps from a marketing perspective because every time Charlie Lee tweets something, it positively or negatively affects the price of Litecoin. Do I believe something will eventually dethrone Bitcoin? I wouldn't rule it out by any stretch. I don't think it's impossible for something to dethrone Bitcoin. I think that competition overall is good in the crypto world. I think that other competitive cryptocurrencies, I know there's a lot of infighting between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and people on both sides don't like each other, and that's great, and that's fine, that's dandy. One, the other, whatever. But I think the one good thing is that because there are two alternatives, I think that at least in my opinion, it's kind of forcing both Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash to be like, we're trying to one-up each other. We're trying to do better than each other. We're trying to be that one cryptocurrency, and it's allowing for a lot more, I think, hopefully faster innovation and better product as we go. Vitalik's IQ is higher than my SAT score. I think Vitalik's IQ is higher than everybody's SAT score. 1310, holler up. Very average. Average white dude. It's my life. Yeah, Hourglass, you are not banned. Some companies out there will, some companies out there do not let U.S. investors participate in ICOs, but there is no specific such law that does not allow Americans to explicitly not participate in ICOs. So you don't have to worry about that yet. Could that come out? Maybe, but let's see here. Koreans still pouring money into Bitcoin Cash. Jamie the Demon, what is up, my man? What is up? William, I have like 50% of my portfolio in Bitcoin, so enough. Kevin mentioned predictions on what is going to happen with BTC. I mean, I think it's tough. We're at a pretty interesting inflection point right now, depending upon, I think, if we break through $8,000. I think that seems to be, I feel like there's kind of two possible scenarios right now. It's looking like we're going to try to break $8,000. If that happens, great. Obviously, great. If we break $8,000, you're going to see Bitcoin every time it goes through a psychological barrier like $8,000. It's just going to rocket through, and within 5 seconds, you're going to see 8,015, 8,040, 8,100, 8,200 maybe, and then potentially a little bit of pullback as people take some profits. As far as what's going to happen, I kind of see that we're getting, at least in my opinion, it looks like we're getting to this point where we're going to break through. We're either going to break through like $8,000 in the next like day or so, or we might get slammed down a little bit. So we'll see. So checking some emails here too, because I think a lot of people are saying all these Coinbase emails. I'm just curious to see what that one looks like. I don't even think I got the Coinbase email. You guys, if you are new to the channel by any chance as well, so I do daily videos on crypto. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to, if you're new to this, I do daily videos on crypto, and then I do these happy hours, these YouTube live happy hours as much as I can. So I've had, I don't want to say a light week, but I've had some opportunities this week to do it 3 times this week. So try to do these as much as possible because this is the most fun for me. It's just getting in to hang out here and talk with you guys. So I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that. So somebody mentioned, stupid question, but when the props coin drops, what wallet can I use? I believe they have developed their own wallet on mobile wallet on the phone so that you can, it's like embedded within their application, which should be pretty cool. How do you get into the Bloom ICO? I think it's like any other ICO. I think Bloom might have a whitelist that you might want to apply for. I applied for the whitelist. I don't know if that's a necessity to invest or to participate in the token sale, but I signed up for the whitelist. So definitely something to check out. If I haven't gotten in yet, should I wait for another dip or should I get in now? I would personally, for me, I would recommend a little dollar cost average. I think, let's say you got $1,000 right now and you want to buy Bitcoin. Spend $500 right now, buy $500 for the Bitcoin, and then if the price drops, like if we go up to $8,000 or we go to $7,999, then the price of Bitcoin, everybody sells and it takes a dip down to $7,200 or $6,500 or whatever, then take your other $500 and buy more. Alternatively, if it goes from, if you buy $500 right now, you buy half, whatever you want right now, it goes up to $8,500. Either you can wait to buy the other $500 or you could just say, whatever. It is what it is. I'll dollar cost average. I'll buy another $500 then. So, but at least in that scenario, you don't take all your money right now. You get a little bit of exposure one way or another. If it goes up, then great. You made a little bit of a profit. If it goes down, then great. You didn't put all your money in and then just get wrecked. So that's why I kind of like dollar cost averaging, especially for newbies in the space, at least just on your first investment because it helps. So what do we got here? Jimmy, appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much for that. Have I heard of the ICO NVO decentralized exchange? NVST is the token. What are your thoughts on a decentralized exchange, NVO.io? So I'll look at this website. I actually haven't heard of it. Decentralized exchanges are interesting. There are a lot of different ways that people are trying to run decentralized exchanges right now. Let's take a look at the roadmap. I don't know when this is ICOing. One thing I will say is that products that don't have, or ICOs that don't have a product in place yet and that have a pretty extended roadmap seem to not be performing as well as ICOs that have something in place. So, because if you're buying something that does an ICO and then it's not launching until another 3 months, there's really not a big reason to hold on to that ICO unless you're just a big fanboy and you're really making a speculative bet. So I think that's one thing to consider is I don't know too much, quite frankly, in regards to this specific ICO at all. The concept of decentralized exchanges is fascinating. There are a lot of companies that are trying to do it in a lot of different manners, whether it's through something like oracles, whether it's fully on the blockchain, whether it's off the blockchain. There are a lot of different ways people are attacking a decentralized exchange, but it comes down to execution and which one's going to be, there's probably only going to be a few that are going to succeed. So definitely comes down to execution. Appreciate that, Willie. Somebody mentioned, do I have any Bitcoin mining contracts right now? Do I think that they are worth it? Personally, I don't think Bitcoin mining is worth it. Or not Bitcoin mining, excuse me. Bitcoin cloud mining. I don't think Bitcoin cloud mining is worth it. I'll do a quick example. Let's see. Where's Genesis? Genesis Mining, I think, is the big dog. So let's click on this. Mining, profitability. So I'll pop over here. This is just a very quick example pricing wise. Let's see if I clicked on pricing. Yeah, pricing. So what do we got? So right now, Bitcoin mining is, what do we got? Let's click on this, crypto compare. I'll click on Bitcoin. How many gigahashes do you, so if you buy the maximum, if you buy $3,975, it costs you $3,975 for this, you get 25,000 gigahash. Let's see, 25,000. There's no power consumption. I believe that there is some type of fee. You are, let's see. In that case, it actually looks somewhat profitable, but I think that might have been a bad example. But overall, I don't think cloud mining. I think you're better off either buying your own mining equipment, or I think you're typically better off buying your own mining equipment, or just buying that cryptocurrency directly. Alternatively, like here, I'll pop over to Monero mining. Look at, this is what, 3,000. We'll look at that. XMR. So if you buy a Monero mining contract, it's $2,400. You're making $200 a month, so you'll make that money back. You'll make that money back in a year. So it takes you a full year to make that $2,400 back. It's a 2-year contract. So the next year is kind of potentially full profit if the price stays the same. So it's really, in my opinion, you're just better off buying and holding outside of that. So I don't really think, in my mind, that cloud mining is that great of a deal for the most part. I think it's just pushed by, there's a lot of people that have some referral links there as well. So when it's driven by a referral link, always look at it a little extra carefully with a grain of salt. Even when I recommend a book on Amazon, although those books are freaking bomb. Thank you very much for that. BitClave ICO. But to that point, if you guys like cloud mining, I think mining's awesome. I just think it's better off to, I think it's more educational, and I think it's better off to just buy your own cryptocurrency. I mean, to either buy it or to buy the mining equipment on your own. I think it kind of gives a more educational experience. But if you like doing cloud mining, more power to you. But when somebody asks me, is this better? Should I do cloud mining? Most of the time, my recommendation is no. It's really, I don't personally think it's worth that much of your time. But I'm not always right, and everybody has different opinions, so I think that's important to keep in mind as well. So I don't know too much about BitClave. Personally, I don't really know all that much. A decentralized search engine. It's a lot of money raised in a pre-sale. I see it, in a pre-sale. Co-founder Bancor. Those are the advisors. Interesting that the advisors are first. I mean, I recognize some of these people for sure, but yeah, I need to do a little bit more research on this personally. It's one of those things that, so, and this is in regards to everything. This is in regards to everything, but does everything need to be decentralized? I think that's a legitimate argument. Does everything need to be decentralized? Does it, does that need to happen? I don't know. Not always in the case. FUD Machine, I'm not a financial advisor, so you shouldn't give an opinion. Well, if you're going to ask me a question, I am going to give my opinion on it. It's not financial advice, but I am gonna give my opinion, and you are gonna listen. Sure. Let's see here. Looking at some of these questions here. Bye, Felicia. taking a look at some of the questions. Let's pop over to... So Bitcoin right now, $7,960, which is pretty damn crazy. I would love to see this break $8,000 live. That would be fantastic. I would enjoy that as far as things go, because that would be fun. Because like I said, I think when this goes down, when Bitcoin, if and when Bitcoin breaks $8,000, you're just going to see it pop through, and it should be fun. I mean, we can even pull up GDAX to, let's see, I'll just do it here because I think see what's up with GDAX if I can pull the old. Let's see. It's not letting me do it. But if we get rolling towards $8,000, I will definitely pull that up, because that would be certainly fun to see as far as it goes. You guys are nuts. And like always, it's not financial advice, it's just my opinion. I mean, that's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of these YouTube lives, is I'm here to talk to you guys. I'm here to give you my thoughts. I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. Even when you guys call me a jackass, even though I am a jackass. So definitely appreciate all your thoughts and questions. But I mean, the purpose of asking questions is, I at least think the purpose of you guys asking questions is for me to answer them with some type of context. Marlon Diubs, are my questions really bad? I haven't seen your questions. Sorry. Sometimes they get lost. There's a lot of questions coming in, so I try and do my best. What do you think of the Qcoin exchange? I haven't tried it. I haven't taken a look. Let's see. How high do you think the price is going to go when China comes back into play? I think that's a big if and when. I think that's a bigger if now rather than when. If China comes back in, I mean, that's going to immediately spike the price. It's crazy the volume. Bitcoin, we'll pull this up. Let's see if there's anything on it. Let's see if this shows. So there's a couple different charts out there. I'm not sure if I can find it as we're live. China Bitcoin volume, maybe. Here, let's see. Maybe this is it. So at one point last year, China was like by far the most volume in cryptocurrency. Like, it was a crazy amount of volume. I think they had over like 80% of volume in Bitcoin in cryptocurrency was coming out of China. And now it's like less than 10% because of all the things that are happening there. So mom says to stay away from Bitcoin. Yeah, my mom said the same thing too when Bitcoin was at $300 and said I was dumb for putting money into it. And you're not always right, Mom. Sorry. It's not always right. Bitcoin is now at $7,000, and I should have put my damn life savings into it when it was at $300, but I didn't. So, and that's why I'm not drinking Macallan 18 right now. He lives in a caravan with his family. Thoughts on using a Treasure wallet? I personally use a Ledger Nano S. I've heard really good things about Treasure as well, though, so I think those are the two industry leaders. But I would not keep my money on a desktop wallet. I wouldn't keep my money on an exchange. I would buy a hardware wallet. Thank you very much, Thomas. I do appreciate that. I hope you find it helpful. If you have any questions, definitely let me know, my man. I mean, as far as it goes, I would definitely recommend either a Ledger or a Treasure. I think there's a couple other ones out there, but those are the two big dogs in the room that I really like as well. Cody, when will I quit my day job to do Crypto Bobby full time? I don't know if I ever will, but who knows? I like doing this for fun. I mean, I make a little bit of money here and there doing it on YouTube ads and random crap like that. But I like my day job too. I do well in my day job. A lot of the crypto YouTubers didn't necessarily maybe come from, some of the guys that have gone full time maybe didn't necessarily come from the best of circumstances, and now they're doing really well and whatever. But I work at a big Fortune 500 company. I do, I'm able to support a family, and I like doing what I'm doing, but I also like the crypto, YouTube stuff. I have a blast doing it. It's fun because basically any money I make here, I'm just putting it and building a bigger and bigger crypto portfolio and learning more and more and more. So I enjoy doing that. And somebody mentioned, do I still have a 401k? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not one of those guys that advocates for you to sell your entire 401k to put it into Bitcoin, because I think that's wildly irresponsible and crazy. If you want to do that, great. But if you want to advocate for somebody else to do that, you a nut job. $25 away. Let's see it. Shoot you here, man. Let's go $8,000 Bitcoin. I'm getting tired, so I want to see some $8,000 Bitcoin. Let's get it rolling. Come on. What's going to happen first, $8,000 Bitcoin or me finishing my beer? I'm hoping the $8,000 Bitcoin happens. Just keep buying everything in the planet. I'm kidding. But yeah, that's let's see what ends up going on here. Desktop wallet, unless it's encrypted. Hop on out of here. So I'm looking at this. GDAX shows BTC higher. Build and learn. So somebody else mentioned real quick while we're doing this, I mentioned it a little bit before, but the GDAX, so here's the thing from GDAX/Coinbase and SegWit2x. Basically, there's still potential of, to recap, I don't want to over recap for anybody who's already been here for the, for the first recap, but basically GDAX is potentially, there is potential that the SegWit2x fork is still going to happen. A small contingent of people are potentially mining that, or going to push that fork forward. If that does happen, SegWit2 or GDAX is going to halt deposits and withdrawals for a couple hours just to make sure that the network is fine and nothing crazy happens, so you don't lose your damn money. And if the B2X fork actually goes through, they say they will provide you with your BTX B2X cryptocurrency, but they won't. Because it's not something that's supported by the majority of people, they'll just let you withdraw it and they won't let you trade it. So they're not going to have there's not going to be a B2X trading pairing here like there would have been previously if that B2X was still supported by a good majority of people, or not a majority of people, by a good majority of businesses. Exodus is a great desktop wallet. I've heard good things about it, but I've also seen people that have lost money with Exodus. Everybody's favorite YouTube advertiser, I think, lost a bunch of Bitcoin on his Exodus wallet. And if you're gonna have, it's crazy. Honestly, it's psychotic to me that there are. It's funny because, I like to joke around and kind of bust balls on a lot of the dudes that are big in the old BitConnect game, but to be honest, they're making a shit ton of money. Do I think that's good? Do I think BitConnect is a real business? No, but are they making more money than me right now? Probably, yeah. Probably a lot more. Is that going to last? I don't think so. I'm more concerned with longevity and actually having a channel in 6 months and a year and 6 years from now. And do I want to potentially make this into a long-term thing and not just care about short-term benefits? Yeah. So I'm more concerned about the longevity than the short-term buck. So that's number one. But going to that, the amount of money some of these dudes just have on an Exodus wallet or in a BitConnect account with no two-factor authentication. You guys are out of your freaking minds. You have $800,000 on a freaking Exodus wallet, and you're like, oh shit, I lost 50 Bitcoin. Like, what happened? Why didn't you put it on a hardware wallet? It's like saying like, oh, I walked over to Bank of America with $500,000 in cash and somebody robbed me. Who knew? Like, you're putting yourself out there. If you're on YouTube in the first place, how would you not secure yourself and how would you not be intelligent about it? Like, security should be the number one thing. That's literally just like putting $800,000 on your porch out front and being like, hey guys, you know, I'm super famous and I make a bunch of money, but yeah, don't come and take my money. Like, come on. So let's not do that, Jamie. But that's just, I mean, my overall opinion on that. I mean, I think however you want to make your money, make your money. Do whatever. But if you, for somebody that has hundreds of thousands of dollars to be sitting on an unsecured laptop, on an unsecured wallet, and without two-factor authentication in a BitConnect account, like, y'all nuts. So, but that's also, somebody else says, I don't believe they're getting hacked. Yeah. knowing half of these schmoes, they're probably just sending it to another account being like, oh my God, clickbait, I just lost 50 Bitcoin. These guys are too smart to be that careless. I don't believe them. Honestly, I don't think they're too smart. I don't. Now, we're not exactly talking about software engineers and security architects and people that have been around Bitcoin for a long time. We're not. So I don't know if they're too smart. AK. Looks like we're stuck at 79.75 right now. So this is fairly interesting. Let's see if we could pop through this at all. No, Duffy Games, I do not think so. Everybody remember Bitcoin at 1,800 a couple months ago? Yeah, I do. I do. Let's see here. I'll move the chat out of the way for a second. Yeah, looks like we got a little bit of a sell wall here. 97 Bitcoin between... Wow, 141 Bitcoin trying to... There's a decent amount of Bitcoin trying to buy right now. 95 Bitcoin sell wall at 79.75. And not that much up on the way. I'm sure there's quite a... let's see what the sell wall is at... This will be interesting to see if we end up breaking through, so... Curious what ETH is doing right now as all this is going down. Probably sitting at, 332. I was going to say 330. Who's popping champagne if it breaks 8K? I'm going to bet if it breaks 8K. I'm tired as hell, man. I got to call at 8 o'clock in the morning for work tomorrow, so. We got, as always, Robbie's got a day job. Bitcoin need to be on Coinbase wallet to get B2X. I mean, I don't know where your Bitcoin is now, but yeah, that is a scenario that kind of needs to happen if it's going to be on, if it's going to be there. If you want to get that from somewhere else, do you think John McAfee will eat his, in 2 to 3 years, losing $500,000 price prediction bet? No, I don't. No, but I'd love to see it happen. Is it safe to buy the Nano on Amazon? That's where I bought my Ledger Nano S. It was faster shipping. To my knowledge, the seller's there. Can't really tamper with it. So I mean, I would just do a little bit of due diligence, make sure you're buying it from the right seller. But I bought my Ledger Nano S on Amazon just because it was Amazon Prime and it was a lot faster as well. Is it me, or ever since starting this crypto thing, I've been getting no sleep? Yeah, sometimes I'll wake up at like 3 in the morning and I'll roll over and I'll check Blockfolio and then be like, ah, shit, now all I can do is think about crypto. So it's definitely something that I have some empathy for and can definitely definitely agree with. Try meditation. Thanks, Stratford. Appreciate it, my man. I don't know if I'd say stud, but I appreciate the kind words. Ethereum predictions. I'm a fan of Ethereum. I opened up, like I said before, opened up a pretty decent sized position in Ethereum at 310 recently, or at least I've had a position in Ethereum for a while, but bought more at 310 and bought a little bit more at 325 as well. So I probably have 50% of my portfolio in Bitcoin right now and probably 30% in Ethereum, and then the other 25% in some of the smaller altcoins. So I'm pretty big in Ethereum right now. It hasn't performed anywhere near as well as Bitcoin in the past couple of months. I mean, if we're looking on a 3-month, what do we got here? On the last 3 months, it's kind of traded sideways for the most part in this $300 range. I am hoping that we see obviously, I'm hoping that we see a nice move upwards. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put my money in it. But yeah, I put a good bit of cash into Ethereum in the 310, 325 range, looking for a hopeful solid move up to to some new all-time highs. Bitcoin red candle. Ooh, there we are. As soon as I go away from Bitcoin for 5 seconds, it gets shut down. All right. Yep, Bitcoin just had a little bit of a sell-off there. Down $50 in, I don't know, two damn minutes. Gotta love partially degraded service. There we are. Nice little bit of red candle right here from... Looking like we're getting into a little bit of resistance at that $7,975. If we hit $10,000, Bitcoin will... Any more Sweet Baby Jesus in the fridge? Yeah, I had 2 last night. I'll have 2 tonight. So 6-pack. I'll have 2 more for... I'm going to be out tomorrow night. Actually, like I said, I'm going to be at that props meetup tomorrow night. So if you guys are in Manhattan, I'll be there. If you guys are in attendance, definitely let me know. I'll be the average-looking white dude in the room with all the smart people that are way smarter than me. So definitely happy to talk to you guys tomorrow if you're in Manhattan. Won't be able to do a crypto live since I'll be at that, but we'll have a recorded video for sure. Now, outside of that, I think what I'm going to do right now too, so if you're new to the channel by any chance, like I said, hit that subscribe button and hit the little notify bell next to it. As what that basically does is if I do go live, you get a little bit of a notification you get a push notification on your phone or whatever. And so hit the subscribe button, hit the little notify bell next to it. I would definitely appreciate that. And that way you guys can be early when these things go live and also get the other videos when they pop up. But outside of that, like I said, I got a call tomorrow at 8 a.m. So I want to get some sleep. Right now, I was hoping we'd break 8K live, but I might be bad luck. And I wouldn't doubt the second I turn this YouTube live off that Bitcoin just rockets through 8K. Knowing my luck and knowing the luck I bring to Bitcoin. So cheers to you guys tonight. I'm hoping when I turn this off, I'm the bad luck and we see 8K. That's my hope. I hope you guys, outside of Bitcoin, whatever altcoins you're in, whether it's Lisk, whether it's Neo, whether it's OMG, whether it's Litecoin, Ethereum, I don't really care what you're invested in. Hoping you guys have the best of luck and kill it and do well. So if you need anything, definitely hit me up in the comments. But as of now, Crypto Bobby signing out for the night. Take it easy. Peace.